Hello students. So the topic of today's lecture is the supportive type of simple permanent tissue. In the previous one, we have discussed the one type of supportive tissue, that is parenchyma. Now we are going to discuss the remaining two types, that is collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So we are discussing supportive tissue, which is a type of simple permanent tissue. Now we have discussed the parenchyma and its type. Now we are going to discuss the collenchyma. The characteristic feature of collenchyma is that it can be called as the living mechanical tissue because its main function is to provide support to the plant part. So, collenchyma is also called as living mechanical tissue. The cells of collenchymatous tissue are slightly elongated with thick corners. So, normally the cell wall is thin, but at corners it is having thickening. So, the characteristic feature of collenchymatous cell is elongated cells, composed of elongated cells with thick corners. This thickening is mainly of cellulose and pectin. As I said, the cell wall of collenchymatous cell has thickenings at the corners, and that thickening is composed of cellulose and if you talk about its function, its main function is to provide in mechanical strength and elasticity to the growing stems. So, besides being a mechanical tissue which provides strength and support to plant parts, it also provides flexibility to plant parts, which is essential for easy bending of the plant parts. So, provides flexibility also. We have also said it in the previous point that it provides elasticity to the growing stem. Similarly, it provides flexibility to other parts also, and help in easy bending of the plant part. Now, if we represent collenchymatous tissue diagrammatically, in contrast to the parenchymatous cells, the collenchymatous cells don't have the intercellular spaces, and the cell wall is again composed of cellulose and pectin, but at corners the cell wall has thickenings of cellulose and pectin. Whereas in case of parenchymatous cells, they didn't have any thickening, they were having thin cell walls. Then they contain the cell membrane, a central large vacuole just like the parenchymatous cells, and a peripheral layer of cytoplasm containing nucleus. This is the thickening at corners, which is made up of cellulose and pectin. This is cell wall. This is the plasma membrane, the central vacuole, large vacuole, peripheral layer of cytoplasm containing nucleus, and we can see there is no intercellular spaces between the cells. So this thickening at corners provide the mechanical strength as well as flexibility to the plant parts, and therefore it is called as the living mechanical tissue because these cells contain nucleus and they are living cells, and since they provide mechanical strength, therefore they are called as living mechanical tissue or living mechanical cells. This is collenchyma. Now the third type of supportive tissue is the sclerenchyma. Scleras means heart. So these are pure mechanical tissues, strength providing support and strength to the plant parts. Sclerenchymatous tissue is the dead mechanical tissue because the cells are dead. They are made up of dead cells because they have extremely less or very extremely little or no protoplasm. And protoplasm is an essential characteristic feature of a living cell. So they are considered as the dead cell. And their cell walls are extremely thick and the thickening is of lignin. So cell walls are very thick. And in contrast to the collenchymatous tissues, the thickening in these sclerenchymatous tissue cells is of lignin. And this thickening of lignin is present throughout the cell wall and not at specific corners as in case of collenchyma where the thickening was present only at the specific corners of the cell wall. Lignin is a waterproof material. So we can say that the sclerenchymatous cells have uniform thickening whereas the collenchymatous cells have thickening only at the corners. As in case of the collenchymatous cells, here also the intercellular spaces are absent. The main function of sclerenchyma is to provide mechanical strength. Now this sclerenchymatous tissues are also two types. One type is called as the sclerates. Sclerates are small stone cell or grit cells having small lumen and thick cell wall. So they are small cells having small lumen and thick cell wall. They are also known as stone cell or grit cell. The second type of sclerenchymatous cells are the fibers. These are, in contrast to stone cells, very long, narrow, thick lignified cells. These fibers are used in manufacture of ropes, mats and certain textile fibers. Jute and coir are obtained from the thick bundles of fibers. So, they are used in manufacture of ropes, mats, etc. And we have heard about jute and coir. They are obtained from thick bundles of fiber. So this is all about the types of supportive simple permanent tissue. In the next lectures we will be discussing about the complex permanent